Okay, so I deleted part 4. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I tried so hard to get it back. I was like downloading all these like data recovery programs and like I fought with it for like 3 hours and I was just like, shit, like it's gone forever. And then I was just like, there can't be a part 4. This is like the part of the parts, you know. I mean, this and part 3, those are like the big parts of my stories. And I was like, what am I gonna do? It's lost forever. And then I was like, I'll just fucking re-record it. Like, I don't know why I didn't think of that. I'm just like, it was like the end of the world, and then I was just like, what? So, I'm here again, and I'm just gonna have to live through it again because I'm a sadistic little shit, so it's okay. But anyway, okay, so I left off, I was in line after Emmy had left, and I was panicking. I was panicking with the cranes, and I'm like, I'm alone, and I keep moving closer and closer to Reedus and Clark, and I'm just freaking out. And I'm just like, this isn't the way that things were supposed to happen. This is not how it was supposed to happen. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I was not in it at all. And I'm just like, this, like, I don't know. Okay, so I got to that part. And then I got to where I was when I'm sitting there. Pretty much, like, it was almost, I don't want to be, like, fate, you know, but it was totally, like, mad coincidence, or something, you know, because I'm sitting there, and I'm just feeling like, I don't know if dejected is the right word, but I was fucking something, you know. I'm just sitting there, and I don't want to say it was like a, I don't want to say it was like a weight, but it was just like, I don't know. Not like I couldn't do it, because I know if I really, really had to, I could have, but it wasn't meant for me, you know. It wasn't mine to do, you know. And so, in my head, I'm like, because it was like, I was glad that I had the crayons, but at the same time, I was really like, fuck, because I had moments where I was like, I should just go, you know, like, everybody, I don't know, like, I felt like things just hadn't gone the way that they were supposed to, you know, just out of circumstance. And then I was like, but I can't just leave because I have the cranes. I have the cranes. Like, they were like my anchor, I guess. And then I'm in line, and then I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, fuck, you know. And then David Bowie came on, and it was Let's Dance, and I'm just like, fuck, like, let's dance, bitches. Like, let's just fucking do it. Because in my head, I had been weighing, you know, the cranes in the story, or leaving, or just, I don't know, you know, just, I didn't like my options. And I had one option that I really could not do, and then I had another option that I could do, but just really, really scared me, and like, freaked me out, because Clark makes me so nervous. I don't know why. Like, I don't know, like, I was really, really crazy nervous talking to Reedus, but I could handle that, you know? It's like, there's a way to it. Like, there's like a cadence in like a cookie cutter that you stick to. Like, you're there for this reason, and it's gonna go that way, and then you're gonna have your time together, and then you're gonna move along, you know, because that's just the way it was in that sort of setting. But with Clark, it's like, it's just like an open playing field or something. Like, anything could go down, and I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? And so, I'm getting closer and closer, and I've kind of resigned that this is gonna happen, and I'm gonna have to go up there, and I'm like, fuck, what do I say? Like, what do I do? Like, this is kind of weird. And I was just like, I don't know. You know, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just in my head, and I was just like, oh dear God, you know? And so I'm getting closer, and I'm working my way through those fucking rows, and I kind of get to, like, the whole time, I can't remember if I talked about this in my other video. I have to rewind for a second, give me a minute. Okay, so, I'm standing in line, and I'm making my way. That's too loud. I'm making my way towards the front, and I could kinda, I still feel super delusional, but I kind of felt like Ritas would, like, do his little, like, he kept looking at me, and I feel like the first time I kind of caught him, like, I looked over and he was looking, it looked like he was kind of, like, looking around me, you know, and kind of, like, noticing, like, looking for you guys and noticing that I was alone. And that I was by myself, and I think it was kind of just like, what? And then it was, you know, back to what he was doing. And it just, I mean, he probably totally wasn't even, but whatever, you know. In my head, that's what was happening. And, I got to, like, the next, like, the 3 kind of rows where you see each other, but you acknowledge each other on, like, a different level than, like, before, because you're so close, but very separate on another plane, you know, if that makes sense. And, like, he would kind of look over, and at this time, like, I'm just, like, so, like, you know, like, freaking out, just standing there trying not to look fucking absolutely out of my mind in, like, this giant crowd of people, just, like, trying to contain myself. And so I get closer, and I get, like, 2 or 3 rows out, and I can't look at him anymore, because I'm just like, this is too much. I can't look at your face. It hurts. It hurts me to look at you. And so, I get up there, and I get up to Clark, and he's like, what can I do for you? And I'm just like, nothing. And he's just kind of like, what? Like, what do you mean nothing? Like, he didn't say that, but... And I was like, well, I kind of have a multi-layered favor to ask you. And it's kind of contingent. Well, no. I said I kind of have, like, a multi-layered favor to ask you. And he was like, okay. And he kind of, like, got that face of, like, where he's trying to, like, figure out what you're talking about. And I was just like, you know, like, oh no. And so, and I'm like, well, it's kind of contingent on what you're gonna do here, you know. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, the line's pretty long, and you guys were probably supposed to leave, like, a long time ago. And I was like, well, like, are you gonna stay? Are you gonna, like, you know, sign for everybody? And he was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be here. Like, we're gonna just do this. And I was like, alright. So, ow, hold on. And I was like, well, my friend Whitney, I have these cranes, and there's a story behind it, and I know the story, but I she told me to tell you, but it doesn't, I don't think that, this is kind of how it was, you know, I was just like, and, what? I felt so bad for him, but, and I was like, well, she told me to tell you, but it doesn't feel right, and I don't think that I could do it justice, and I just, I was gonna see if it was okay if, you know, we could, like, wait for you to sign for everybody, and she could come and tell you her story, because I was holding our place in line, and then they capped it, and they didn't want to cut, and they're outside, and he was just kind of like, you know, and I'm just like, well, eek. And he was like, and I was like, well, would that be, you know, would that be okay? And he was like, yeah, yeah, and I was just like, what? Like, really? And he was like, yeah, that's totally, and he was like, well, could you, you know, wait, you know, for us to finish? And I was like, yeah, absolutely we can wait. And I was like, well, the security, you know, they like, the doors, and they're closed, and na. And I was like, well, is it okay if I, like, go and get them, you know, and they could come inside and wait? And he was like, yeah, sure, just, you know, bring him in. And I was like, okay, great. And so I go, and I get out of line, and I go, and I don't even look at Ritas. I'm just like, I can't with you. I can't. And I don't know. I don't want to, fuck, I sound so delusional, but I kind of, like, felt him look at me, you know, and just be like, what are you doing? You know, it's just like, never mind, you'll figure it out, you know. And, so I go, and I walk, and I get to the other side of the hall, and I open the doors, and I'd been texting Whitney, you know, like, while I was in there, being like, well, this is gonna take a while, like, are you sure you're okay with us waiting, or waiting for me to, like, get out? She was like, yeah, you waited in line pretty much, like, all day, you do what you have to do, we'll be here. And I was like, okay, great. But I didn't know where they were, and I was just like, I opened the door, and I did, like, a quick scan, you know, just to be like, where the fuck are they, you know? Because I knew they would hopefully be nearby. And I look over to my right, and I see them. They're kind of like sitting on the floor, and I didn't really know at the time. I thought they were just really disappointed that they didn't get to see Ritas, but they just looked so sad. Like, that was the first, they were all just like, you know, and I was like, my god. And then, of course, it's because, you know, they had to say goodbye to Catherine and to Emmy, you know, and then all that stuff with Lou Temple happened, and they were just so sad looking, and I kind of, like, they look at me, and they kind of have, you know, like, they perk up a little bit, they're just like, oh, Sam's back, and then I wave them over, and they're just like, what? And, like, there was, like, 2 seconds where they just kind of, like, looked at each other, and they were like, what? And then they fucking, like, got up. I think it was Sophie who got up the quickest, and I was like, wow, she's fast. But, they, like, I don't want to, like, say they ran over, but they moved pretty quick, you know, and I was like, oh, they're fast. But they come over to me, and there's this woman that had been sitting at the door, and she sees what's going on, and she gets up, and she's like, what are you doing? Where are you guys going? What's going on? And I was like, oh, I talked to Sean Clark. He says it's okay. We're just going to go inside and wait and sit in the back for them to finish up in there. And, Sean says it's okay. And she was like, well, did you clear it with my staff inside? And I'm just like, Sean Clark said it's okay. You know, I felt like I was, like, dropping names or something, you know, but I was just like, that's what happened, you know? And, she was like, well, do you mind if I go inside and check? And I'm like, no, I will wait right here while you go and check with Sean Clark to make sure that it's okay for us to go inside. And so I'm standing there, and I'm holding the door open, and the girls are over here, and they're just like, what is happening? And I'm just like, nothing, like, never mind. You know, because I'm still in, like, a fucking daze. And so, whatever her name, goes inside, and during this time, Sean Clark had, like, moved to the other side of the room to, like, I guess he was getting, like, the money from John and Sarah's tables, you know, and I could see him from where I was, and I was just like, oh, there he is. But and so she goes back there, and she gets like a 3/4 way to the back of the room, and I can hear her like talking to him, and he's just doing like, and you know, and then he looks over her head to me, and he just like waves us in, and I'm just like, ah, like, oh no. And so, you know, of course, she looks all like fucking put out, you know, like she made a big deal and I was telling the truth or something like that, which is a good thing, you know, it's good that she wasn't just like, whatever, but at the same time, I was just like, lady, you know. And so, we go inside and we sit down and whatever, we make ourselves like a little pod of the chairs, and they're just kind of like freaking out, or at least I think, maybe not, I don't know, but I told them, I was like, hey, this is what's going on, I talked to Sean, he's gonna like talk to you, Whitney, but we have to wait for everybody else to go, and they're gonna finish up, you know, so that we can go do our thing, and but it's probably gonna take a while, so is it okay if, you know, we kind of like hang out here and like wait? And you guys were just like, oh, yeah, we can sit, and I was just like, okay, good. Because that was like the big part of the plan, is like, we're just gonna have to like sit here for a minute, or like an hour. I think we sat there for like an hour. And so we just like hung out and watched everybody move through the lines, and then all of the fans and the people that were in line were gone, and then they went and Rita's signed for like the staff, you know, a bunch of them had like Boondock Saints posters and whatever, and then they did their big like Horror Hound security people picture, you know, and there's Ritas in the front, and I'm just like, oh, stop it, you're so cute. But anyway, and so, you know, we're just kind of, they do that, and then the security people kind of start to clear out, and we're just kind of sitting in the back, like, you know, we're just kind of like hanging out. And then, Sean, the cute fucker, he just kind of starts coming towards us, but instead of like going around the chairs like a normal human being, he like starts zigzagging through the rows to like Whitney Houston doing like a little dance as he goes, and I'm just like, fuck, what are you doing? Stop it. And he gets to us, and he infiltrates our little circle, and he sits down on a chair, and he sits backwards, and I'm just like, hey, you know? And the way it was is, I was sitting like here, and then I think it was Mick who was sitting like kind of across from me, and then Whitney, and then Sophie, and then Clark over here. And he's like, so there's something going on, somebody wanted to tell me something about a story, and like what? And Whitney was like, yeah, I have these cranes for you, and I have a story that I was hoping to tell you, and read it, and na-na-na-na, and I'm Whitney, and I'm beautiful and perfect, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was something to that effect. And he was like, oh, so you wanna talk to Ritas too? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, alright, cool. And so then he was like, well, oh my god, okay, go back. Go back to when I was talking to Clark. When I was like super spazzy, like, I hardcore spazzed on Clark. I don't even know how he stood there and listened to what I had to say for that long. But when I was like, I have a multi-layered favor to ask you, and I know we're not friends, but, and then I went on, you know, to my little whatever about like stuff and talking. And I was like, but I know we're not friends. And because I felt like it was like a really big favor, you know, just to be like, I don't know you, and I'm sorry, but can you do this for me? You know, kind of a thing. That kind of made me a little uncomfortable. But when he was back there and he was talking to us, he was saying, you know, you guys can hang out. You can hang out for a little bit, but, you know, the time is going to have to come where you go, you know, you can't just stay here for forever, you know, because Ritas, I guess Norman, he had to go, he was being paid like overtime or some shit. It had to do with the venue, you know, where they really had to get out of there like ASAP. And I was just like, oh fucking K, Clark, whatever you say, you know. And so he was like, well, and you know, he said it, and then he kind of said, like, almost like for us not to be offended, he was like, and I'm not like kicking you out, you know, it's not because I don't like you guys, because I consider you guys all friends. I consider you guys to be my friends. And I was just like, oh God. Like, what are you doing? Don't say that to me. Don't say that to me. And so, that happened. And then, so then, you know, I don't even know if he said anything else that was really that pertinent, but, he got up and he made his way back to Ritas, because I guess he hadn't really talked to him about it before, and so poor Norman is just like, why are they sitting back there? And I'm just like, never mind, you'll figure it out. But, and so I'm creepy, and so I kind of watch him, and I'm like, I see him kind of go over to Ritas, and he kind of, you know, because Norman, the whole time this is happening, when Sean's over here, and then all those security people are clearing out, he's kind of like buzzing around the table, in his little Ritas-y way, you know, doing whatever, and, I don't know, doing whatever, he's fucking cute, so who cares, and, he's like doing whatever behind his table, and like getting himself together, and, Clark goes over there, and I'm watching, like, his body language and, like, what he's... Because he kind of talks with his hands a little bit, and, like, pointing back at us and being like, no, I'm Clark, I'm saying stuff to Norman Reedus because we're friends, you know? And I was just like, oh God, they're talking. And, I see Reedus, he's like, yeah, no. You know, of course, yeah, that's totally okay. And then Clark did something, and then he, you know, he went back behind the table, and he kind of just looks over at us, and we're just like... You know, like, we just look at him, hopefully, and he's just like, yeah, and so he waves us over, and, we get up, and we get our stuff, and we're just like, ah. And so, we just kind of, like, walk over to the table, and, we just kind of stand there, and the way it was, me, Whitney, Mick, Sophie in like a line on one side of the table, and then there was the tables, and then it was Clark, and then Ritas, you know. So I was opposite Clark, and then like Mick was opposite Ritas down the line in like our little setup, and oh God. And so we're just kind of sitting there, and, you know, Ritas, he's just doing whatever, and then he comes over, and, Clark is like, she has something to say to us, or something like that, like, she has something she wants to tell us, and so Ritas is like, me, and he looks over, and, Whitney is like, yeah, you know, she goes into about how she brought them these cranes, and she tells them, like, the legend of the crane story, and, like, about, like, how there's, like, the wishes, and then she goes into, and the whole time she's talking, Norman just kind of leans in, and he's just, like, staring at her, you know, and looking at the cranes, and then looking at her, and just looking around, and looking at the cranes, and looking at Whitney, and I'm just like, oh God, this is so cute, you know, and he does his little arm thing, where, like, he leans in, and, like, hyperextends his elbows on the table, and it was just like, ah, no. No! Like, I can't look at you right now. I can't, so I'm just like, nothing. And, so she tells them about the cranes, and Norman is like, she tells them about her friend, and about her wish, and, Norman's like, yeah, you know, I hope your friend's okay, I hope, you know, that they're doing a lot better, and I hope, you know, they get better, and I hope they're okay, and I'm just like, stop being so damn cute, like, don't you know what you're doing? What are you doing? Not like I don't want him to care, but it's just like, he's too damn cute when he cares. And he's just like, oh, I hope they're okay. And I'm just like, oh god, no. And so, you know, Whitney's like, yeah, and I brought these 2 cranes, and you guys can choose which one you want. And Clark is like, I'll take this one. And Norman's like, no, I want that one. You know, and then Clark's like, fine, I guess I'll get this one. You know, in kind of like a playful way. And, they kind of laughed about it a little bit. And then, I can't remember who said what, but I think Norman said something like, so you folded, like 1,000 grains? And Whitney was like, yeah, I have a picture on my phone if you want to see it. And he was like, yeah. So she whipped it out. She showed him, you know, her fucking, like, mountain of cranes. And they were just like, whoa, that's so cool. And so, you know, they run through, and then we're just kind of, you know, standing there, just kind of, like, hanging out. And, you know, Regis goes back to doing what he was doing, and, you know, they hug and everything like that. And it was super cute. And, he goes back, and, he starts, like, getting all his stuff together, like his presents that he got. This is already like a half hour long. Shit, I'm talking so much more than I did the first time. Oh god. And so he starts, getting, like, his presents and stuff together, and, we're just kind of standing there, hanging out, and Clark is talking to, like, the security people about, like, I don't know, like, weird fans, I guess, like, their weird fan encounters for the weekend, and, like, this one really rude lady, and, like, some creepy fans, and I was just like, and, so I was just kind of, I was listening, and I wasn't really involved in the conversation, obviously, but I was just kind of sitting there being like, oh yeah, ha ha ha, that's so funny, ha ha ha, that's crazy, oh gosh, you know. And the whole time, Regis is, like, packing up his stuff, you know, and he had, like, a bag of things that I guess he wasn't going to keep, you know, because he's not going to take everything. And so he'll go through and he's looking at stuff and he's opening things and, like, looking at, like, weird stuff, and he's like, do you guys want this? You know, here, there's, like, a whole bag of stuff. Take whatever you want from it, and, like, pushes it towards us, and Mick and Whitney start kind of, like, going through it, being like, what's in here? You know, and he was like, somebody gave me this. Do you want it? Here, have it. And, like, he, like, I don't know. There was, like, pictures, and just, like, he was like, here, there's this weird box from, like, Blade 2 or something, and I was like, that's kind of weird, and it was like, I don't know. But anyway, and so, he's just going through his stuff, and then, he gets his suitcase. I guess, like, they got him, like, a new suitcase, you know, to, like, keep all his stuff in, and he's like, he puts it on the table in front of me. So he's moved down to my side of the table, and he sets it down, and he opens it up, and he takes out all the stuffing and stuff, and he just starts, like, trying to pack everything in, and I'm just watching him put stuff in a suitcase, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, how is this real? And so we're just kind of sitting there, watching him put stuff in the suitcase, and then he gets this record that I guess somebody had given him. It was like an Iggy and the Stooges record, and he's sitting there trying to figure out how to put it in the suitcase so that it would fit, but it was a little too wide, you know, and he's just doing whatever, and I'm in my head, you know, he's trying to figure it out, and I know how it would fit, because I watched him try to figure it out, and I'd already kind of gotten it, and I was like, I could totally help him put that record in that suitcase and make it fit. But then I was like, you're watching Norman Reedus put shit in a suitcase. Like, just fucking, like, just sit there and watch him. Like, don't say anything. You're not even supposed to be here right now. And so I was like, he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out eventually. And so, he kind of did. He put it in a part of the suitcase I probably wouldn't have put it in, but whatever, it's his fucking record and his fucking suitcase. He can do what he wants. And so, he starts putting the stuff in the suitcase, and we see Catherine's CD, and we're just like, like, it's there, and we're just like, oh my god, it's in the suitcase, he's taking it with him, and we freaked out, like, obviously that didn't happen, but in my head, I was just like, like, not like he wouldn't take it, but just like, confirmation that it is in his suitcase, in his possession, going to wherever he's going, it's going with him. And I was just like, ah. Okay. So he's putting the stuff in the suitcase, and we're just kind of hanging out, and then, I say something to Clark. No. Yeah, I say, like, something about getting, like, a group picture of, like, all of us, but I don't think he heard me. And then he's like, well, you know, thank you for coming out, thank you for your story, thank you for your cranes, beautiful and talented Whitney. And, he's like, well, you guys kind of got to start to get going, you know, we've had our fun, but you gotta go. And we were just like, totally okay, thank you, you're the best, you know. And then I said the picture thing, and then fucking Whitney is just like, oh hey, I'm in Venus. Is it okay if Sam gets a picture because she waited in line all day and she didn't get to do it earlier? And I was just like, no, how about we get like a group photo of like all of us and Rita's. He wasn't having any of that. He was already on his way around the table, and I'm just like, no, like, stop it, no. And then he's coming towards me. My phone's going off. Where's my phone? Hold on. Oh. Found it! And it's my sister. Anyway, and so he's coming towards me, and I see it happening, and I'm just like, like, internally screeching and like inhuman noises, and I'm just like, no. And he comes over and he hugs me, and he doesn't let go. This is like, it's already like a 5-second hug, and during the hugging I was like, it was a pleasure to meet you. And then he just kind of starts to like rock. He just kind of starts to like rock back and forth and like move a little bit, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what are you doing? What is your body doing? Stop it. And then I'm just like, I don't know. My brain, I'm just like, this is not what, no. No. And so, I don't really know what to do, and so I just kind of go with it, and I just kind of start to follow him. And I'm like, are we slow dancing now? Is that what this is about? And he's just like, pretty much. And I'm just like, no. I'm just like, you know, like, what am I supposed to do? And so, not too long after that happens, you know, we half let go, because there wasn't like any disconnect between the weird hug dance and then when we turned to take a picture, like it was like a weird fluid movement of like rotation. I was just like, what is going on? But then we turned, and there's a picture. as embarrassing as it is, there is a picture mid-turn between the two, before, like, between the hug and the actual picture of me just being like, I'm just like, what? What the fuck just happened? What just happened? And I'm just like, oh my god, like, and so, I can't even, I'm just like, and so, we take our picture, and, you know, we part, fucking finally. I'm just like, thank god that's over, I can't. You know, and so, he goes around the table, and he starts, like, getting dressed. He, puts on, like, his little sweater, and he was wearing that, turtleneck, woolen turtleneck thing that has, like, the weird buttons, and in my head, I'm like, I really wanted to ask him and be like, what is going on with that collar? Like, what are those buttons doing? Why is it scrunchy like that? What's going on? But then at the same time, I was like, you just kind of danced with Norman Reedus, and he's putting on a sweater, and this weekend just happened, and you're not supposed to be here right now, so just stare at him for a little bit, you know, just don't say anything, just stare at him for a while. And so I did. I stared at him, and during all this, I didn't really look at anybody else, because I don't know what my face was doing. I don't know, like, I was just imploding on so many other levels. I'm just like, this isn't happening. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. And so, whatever, that happens. And then, you know, more of, hey, do you want this? You know, here, have this. And he gave somebody, like, a weird kind of gross, gooey rat, and I was just like, that's kind of off-putting. But, and so, Clark is like, alright, you have to clear out for reals this time, you guys gotta get moving. And we were like, thank you, Clark, no, you guys are the best, no. And, so then Reedus, he's just like, oh, we're saying goodbye. And so, he starts to go and hug everybody in the line of people. And so while all this is happening, I turn to Clark, and I went to shake his hand, and I was just like, it was a pleasure to meet you, thank you for, you know, no. And so, he shook my hand, but then he was like, he kissed my hand. I was just like, what? Like, it was like legit, like, handshake to straight hand kissing. And I was like, what are you doing? No! I was not prepared. Like, fucking Reedus shenanigans aside, my brain wasn't fried enough. I can't handle that from you, Clark. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I don't know. So out of left field, I was just like, why did you do that? And so, during this time, and I'm dying, Reedus has made his way closer to me in the hug line. And I think it was after he hugged Mick. Side note, it was like factory style hug-kiss combo. Like, he would kiss your face on the hug in, and then he would hug you, like, with each of us. It was just like, no. Okay. So after he hugged Mick, like, right when he was making his way to go hug Whitney, he was like, this is like a sexy Congo line. Sexy Congo line of hugs kisses from pretty girls. And I'm just like, oh my god, no. Oh my god, no. Like, no. No, why would you say that to somebody? Why would you say that? Like, do you... So that happened, and then he hugged Whitney, and then he gets to me again, and he kisses my face, and he gives me a hug, and I'm just like, I am so done with everything. I'm like 1,000,000% done. I'm like, I can't handle any more of this. Like, you... Yeah. I can't do it. I can't anymore. This is too much. I'm out. I'm out. Oh my god. So, he hugs me, and we all kind of like get ourselves together, and we start, you know, walking away, and we make our way to the other side of the hall, and I turn around, and I'm like, bye guys, bye, nice seeing you. And then Regis and Clark, they turn, they're like, what? And they're like, oh, bye! Drive safe! And we're just like, thanks, bye! It was so cute. It was just like... So, that was the end of Regis and Clark on Sunday. And then we make our way out of the convention center, and we are, like, legitimately, like, the last people to leave. Like, there was nobody. Not even, like, security in the halls. Like, it was dark. No one was around, and I'm just like, whoa. Where did everyone go? So we go out, and we make our way across the street to Whitney's car, and we get in the car, and we call Catherine. I think that's when we called Catherine. Did we? Yes. We called Catherine to say that her CD had made it in the suitcase of Keepsies. And we were just like, hey Catherine, guess what we saw? And then of course we all freaked out, and that was great. And then we took off, and we made our way to the Greyhound station, which took us forever to get to. I don't know why. We were meant to stay in Cincy. But anyway, I think I'm caught up now to part 5, because this is the Lost Chronicles of Deleted Video 4. So I think that's about it. Yeah, so I'll see you guys eventually. I'll see you later. Yeah. I have to say, this is gonna be like super out of order because I'm kind of between like videos of the past. That I watched Whitney's video. I'm not all the way through yet, but it made me really happy. And I watched Mick's storytelling video, and Mick, you need to read me all the stories. Like, I want all the stories in all the Mick videos. I don't have a life, so I want to waste my time in a not wasting time way by watching your face read stuff to me. Because it's like really, I kind of get it's like a weird sensation. You know, like I kind of get that when I watch little kids draw too. I don't know why, but it's just like, that's my shit. Creepy Samantha likes to be read too. So yeah, I miss you guys, and I think about you pretty much all day, every day, so, yeah. I think that's just where I'll leave it. So, enjoy the rest of my video. It's pretty much just the snowstorm and the airport. So yeah. Bye guys!